Hello everybody and welcome back to Juno New Origins, where I've been doing a little bit of tweaking on the design of this craft. And as you can see, the price of it's, I think, down a little bit from what it was. I swapped out the engine that was here previously, which was a mage engine, for a modified gnome engine. And this thing is going to have low thrust to weight to start with, but high thrust to weight by the end. I also used the extra space here to add some additional fuel here. And the question is, what do we have here? 1.96 thrust to weight at surface level? Okay, that doesn't seem too bad, honestly. Let's take a quick peek at what we've got going on here. Yeah, that doesn't look bad at all. Excellent. Also, 2.4 million of our 3 million launch cost is this engine. So there's that. Well, let's put this out on the alley pad, and we know that we're going to have to be going somewhere around 70, 75 degrees, somewhere in there, to hit the barge. So we need to dial in exactly where that's going to be going. For now, I'm going to go for 72, and we'll see how that feels. So I'm going to throttle up here, and we're going to go pretty straight up here. I'd like to set our pitch to just like 85 degrees for right now. Actually, I'm going to set it to like 70. I want to go mostly up here on this engine, but let's head on over. And let's see how this goes. To be clear, I don't expect to succeed. We're working on dialing this in, and that's going to take a fair amount of effort. So we'll see what that ends up feeling like, and we'll make adjustments accordingly. This is going to take a number of attempts, and that's absolutely fine. That is absolutely fine. So we're going to be burning longer here, and hopefully that'll mean that we have a slightly higher apoapsis. At least from this stage, because I'd like to be taking this pretty much horizontal fairly soon. We need the apoapsis to be, let's actually bring this down to about 45 at this point. Okay, so we're crossing 45 kilometers now. Let's just hold it here. Okay, so the apoapsis is going pretty well. I'm bringing this down to 20. Okay. And there we go. So now we need to go far enough to get to the drone ship, right? This would be a lot easier if we could launch from the Drew Space Center. Unfortunately for us, we can't. This contract unlocks the Drew Space Center. So that is definitely a bit of a concern. Looks like we're a little off axis here. So let's bring this guy over to a heading of like 85. Okay. Now I want to bring it over to a heading of about 75. I think 75 might be the correct angle for us. So what's our apoapsis here? 120 kilometers. Okay, let's shut this down. We're just barely overshooting. Okay, we're basically out of atmosphere now. So we're going to need to flip this guy around over to retrograde. We are now out of atmosphere. And we can see here that our overall heading, we're heading a little too far north. So I do want to adjust that by burning us out this way a little bit. Wait, no, that's going to take us the wrong way. I want to head us out this way a little bit. Okay. So let's just do that, dial that in a little bit, and that's closer anyway. I don't know how close it's going to be, but we'll find out. It looks to me like we're still heading too much this way. I'm guessing the angle is probably 75 or maybe even 80. Okay, let's set our pitch to 0, and I want to set our heading to like 180 for the moment. Okay. Commencing a burn here, briefly. I think that might be overshooting it, but we'll see. It is. It's slightly overshooting. We definitely have a lot more fuel for these maneuvers, so that's a good sign. Let's set our heading out to 360. Fire it up, and something like that. Now I want to burn ever so gently prograde. About like that, in theory. And let's bring this over to retrograde. Okay, so we should be basically on par with our inclination. And we've got 60% fuel remaining. So our thrust to weight here is still going to be fairly low, no doubt about that. But let's warp in and see how we did. So for now, I want to warp to about here. Okay, so I can definitely see that we are overshooting this a bit. So we need to take this over to like a 75-degree heading or so. And just get ourselves some vertical velocity. A little bit like that. Cool. So that shaves off some of that vertical velocity and just pushes us out a little further. This rotated underneath us, which I should have been expecting, but I kind of wasn't. So that is fine. Okay, let's see how this goes. This is my first attempt for today. I'm not planning on cutting out any of these attempts. I'm planning on showing this entire learning process. So that should be absolutely fine. We are, I think, slightly off on our inclination, but that's understood. We do have a fair amount of fuel right now. Yeah, we are definitely a bit off. We could do a correction out over this way, which I'm going to do. And then bring us back over here. I don't think that was enough. Yeah, we're definitely a fair amount off right now. So let's slow ourselves down a fair amount here. And I'd like to bring us up. Like so. Get rid of that vertical velocity. And then we're going to need to burn somewhere out over, like, this direction-ish. I don't know. It's going to be a whole thing. So we can see that our current thrust to weight is reasonable. Okay. So, I mean, this is still not going to be enough, I don't think. We need to flip this around to be, like, up over here. And move this guy up a bit. And go, like, this direction, right? We're undershooting this a fair amount. So that is indeed exactly the goal. I want to put this about here or so. That feels overshooty as well. Okay. So at this point, we're going up a bit. We've got 18% fuel left here. I'm going to extend our landing legs. I don't think we're going to nail this, but this is definitely intriguing. Are we undershooting this again due to drag? I think that we are. Okay, let's put this up over here and continue to get ourselves a little more speed here, out this way. Something kind of like this. Okay. Now, the question is, how's this doing? We have 11% fuel left. I think we need additional speed out this direction, to be honest with you. We're just losing a lot of speed to drag. So let's fire that up, and let's head out over here a bit. And now back to retrograde. At this point, with 6% fuel left, we probably just have to go for it. But I don't think we're quite going to nail this. That is definitely an improvement, though, I think. Yeah, we still need more horizontal positioning here. So let's just bring this over to here. I'm going to burn us a little bit more this direction. We've only got 3% fuel left now. That drag is really, well, a bit of a drag. And you can see here, we're going to be off a little bit on our horizontal positioning as well. But we definitely were able to take a lot of positioning changes there. I'd like to move us out, like, over here a bit. And burn us, like, this way. If we had a little bit more fuel in this stage. Hang on. I mean, now we don't have enough fuel to land. Yeah, a little more fuel in this stage would definitely do the trick. Now, we don't necessarily have to do a powered landing. So this got us really, really close, right? We're out of fuel right now, and this got us within 400 meters. So that's really interesting. So let's pull this back. And that is definitely a good sign. So that indicates a couple of things. One, what if we just got above the thing and parachuted it? That would definitely make things easier. So I don't think we need drogue chutes at all for this, to be honest. I think that a main chute would definitely do the trick. So we get rid of the nose cone, and we just put a main chute in here. This is the largest base size that we can do. I don't love it. We'll see if it causes any heating issues. So the idea here would, of course, be that the parachute would deploy at the same time as the landing legs. Like that. And then if we had a little bit more power in this stage here, that would give us a little bit more fuel here to work with. So I'd like to increase the amount of fuel here up to about 14 meters, I think. And let's see what that does to our thrust to weight here. 1.72. That should still be acceptable. So let's put this out on the alley pad, and let's give this another go. This time I'm going to go to 75 degrees on the heading here. And we're going to take this all the way over to, I think 45 is too low. Let's put this at 70 for now. Okay, and off we go. Fantastic. So, 400 meters off was really, really close. That means that if we had just a little more fuel and weren't assuming that we were going to do a powered landing, that this would maybe have worked as it was there. So, let's bring this guy right on in. I do want to set our drone ship as our target. So we're going to do that. Okay. And we can see this is pretty close to the correct inclination. This might well be the correct inclination at 75. So what's our current apoapsis? We definitely need to get a little more altitude here. We got too much altitude last time, but it wasn't actually that much of a problem. So let's just continue to burn here until we're at about 45 kilometers. Then I'm going to drop us down to a 45-degree pitch. We're going to be getting some horizontal speed here because we need quite a lot of that, actually. Okay, now I'm going to bring us over to a 0-degree pitch because our apoapsis is high enough. Okay, we're out of fuel there. And now we need to overshoot this some. So we need a lot of horizontal speed here, right? And that's exactly what we're looking to gain. We can see our thrust to weight right now is only 1.27, but that will go up significantly. So that is understood. Our surface velocity, we're only barely overcoming drag at this altitude, but we are going to see that go up quite a lot more as our thrust to weight increases and as we go upwards and have less air to hit. So 75 is pretty good on the drone ship inclination there, I think. And we'll probably make some additional adjustments on the way over. But for the moment, we need to burn off some thrust to weight here. And this is all looking good. We just need to accelerate this horizontally. So we're on 1/4 speed. No wonder it feels really slow. Okay, there we go. How did we get to 1/4 speed? I don't know. How long were we on it? I don't know. Regardless, we're not anymore. So that looks good. Okay, so we're just looking to slightly overshoot the drone ship here. So far, so good on that. So I want to push out until we're like here maybe. Something like there should be good. So let's just continue to let this burn for a bit. We've got like 60% fuel left. All is looking good here. Okay. We've got about 50% fuel left. I'm cutting the engine now. So that looks great. And now I want to warp to about here or so. There we go. And we can see the drone ship right there, about 180 kilometers away. So that seems relatively fine. I want to move us over to the retrograde side here, because we're going to need to start slowing down. And we are a little off, it seems. So we would want to burn out this way at a heading of perhaps like 225 degrees, or maybe even just directly south at 180 degrees. I wouldn't want to burn this too much. Okay, right about here or so. Let's see how that's doing. Okay. So we are overshooting this, and that is deliberate, because I want to get rid of horizontal speed as we are passing basically over this drone ship, right? So I'm going to start getting rid of some of this lateral speed right now. We have too much lateral speed at the moment, and that definitely needs to continue to drop. We're down to 1.5 kilometers per second at this moment. 1.4. And yeah, you can see we're definitely not quite at a perfect angle here. So really, we'd want to be heading somewhere around, like, here. Whoa, that lost us attitude. Okay, I did not expect to lose attitude there. That's quite bad, actually. Losing attitude there is a bad thing indeed. We're going to need to slow down here. We're overshooting this by a lot now, because I was expecting to be going a lot slower by now. So this is going to continue to slow us down, but at this point, we're going to have to completely turn this around. Come on. Make your way around if you can. You should be able to. Not quite yet. Okay, so some fins might help here. I think that that's pretty obvious that fins would help. So that was a pretty bad overshoot, and that's my own fault. So we're going to pull this back again. And yeah, actually, I think I want to pull this completely out, and let's give this some fins. So let's retry / undo, undo and exit, and let's give this some fins. Okay, so I want to head in here and grab fins, not wings, fins. And we'll just put it right there. And as far as the shape of this goes, we need to keep in mind that we're going to be coming in reverse, right? So something like this should be relatively fine still. I'm going to want to add a control surface to it, and then we're going to want to mirror this all the way around. And the question is this going to need to be reversed or not? We'll see how the game handles this when we're coming in retrograde. That'll be interesting. For now, let's try this. Let's put this out on the alley pad. So we know that 75 is not quite what we need there, but it is very close in terms of the inclination. So let's select the drone ship. Let's put that as our target. And now we can see that the target is here, right? So in theory, the heading should be, that's very hard to see against the sand there. The heading should be like 76, 77, something like that. Maybe like 76. There, something like that. We'll try that. Now let's set our pitch to 70 degrees, and let's take right on off. So the fins here will help us steer on the way in so that we don't lose attitude like that. We needed to do a slight inclination change, but we also needed to lose speed. To be clear, I think on that last run, we were going to overshoot anyway. I think I waited too long to ditch the lateral speed. We should probably do that via maneuver, to be honest. And I think that overall, I just got too much overshoot there. That's okay. It's a learning process, so that seems fine. So 76 is pretty close, I feel like. We'll see what this ends up feeling like, though. So our apoapsis is looking reasonable at 20 kilometers. 25 kilometers. Our thrust to weight is a little lower because of the weight of those fins, but the fins should help us a lot on that re-entry, in theory. Okay, let's drop this down to a pitch of 45. And I'm going to keep dropping this. Down to a pitch of 10. And down to a pitch of 0. Okay, there we go. Excellent. So now, of course, what we need to do is we need to push out this speed until such a time as we're slightly overshooting it. This was too much. I'm going to target for like here or so this time. So that'll be okay. I would love to get this done here, but I kind of doubt it. Although it looks like we're right on the money as far as that inclination goes. And that would make things a lot easier if we learned that this is exactly 76, and it sure looks like it. It's really close to being exactly 76, although it's slightly off this way. So maybe it's like 75 and a half. That would be awkward. No doubt about it. Okay, so we are reaching the destination site now. Let's overshoot it very, very slightly. So right about there, cutting the engines. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to do a planned burn sometime around, this is actually as good as we're going to get, I guess. Sometime around here or so. Just cutting that back a little bit. Yeah, I can't change this any later than this. I don't think we can do it with a planned burn. I think we're going to just have to eyeball it. So let's flip this around. We are exiting the atmosphere now. And let's just warp this on forward. Okay. That angle looked bad at first, and then it seemed to correct itself. Okay, we're in atmosphere right now, and I think we're going to undershoot this, is my current theory. So, to that end, I'm going to take us to directly up. And I'm going to get rid of a little bit of this vertical velocity, just pushing this back a little bit without actually getting any additional horizontal velocity. Something like that. Now I'm going to move us back to retrograde. Okay. So that seems relatively fine for now. So that just gives us a little bit of extra overshoot there. And we're going to be slowing down in our lateral speed here. Our vertical speed is increasing, but our lateral speed is decreasing. And the question is, how are we doing on this angle? I think that if we were to burn out this direction a smidge, it would be good. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's it. That's all I want to do. So this needs to be a heading of, like, right... come on. A heading of, like, right here. Okay. Something about like that. How are we looking on our positioning? We may need to get a little altitude again. which I'm going to do. Getting rid of some of this vertical speed. We're losing attitude here. Okay. That's noted. Losing attitude is not great, but we'll see how this goes. So this means that we might need more gyro here. I was hoping that these fins would make that a doable thing, but we might need more control surfaces on them or something. But we are slowing down a lot here. Too much. We are slowing down too much. So let's try to bring this up and around. We may be better off just trying to not game the atmosphere at all. Okay, let's just bring this up like so. Let's get rid of some of this vertical velocity and start going positive in that vertical velocity. I want to start going up again. And I want to set our heading to be like out over, well, out over here-ish. Do we lose this as our target? Select drone ship, target. Okay. So, where are we right now? Somewhere is the answer. We are definitely somewhere. I want to get a little bit of horizontal speed out this way. 20% fuel remaining. Okay. Let's get that horizontal speed going. And now we can lock velocity retrograde. We're going slowly enough now that this should be relatively okay. I'm looking at our heading. We're picking up a spin. Okay, can we stop that, please? We can. It's just choosing not to. Okay. Well, that's awkward. So we're going to need to get ourselves a little bit more vertical speed here. Stop with the spin. There you go. Okay. So a little bit more vertical speed, but we need to head out like over here, which we can't do while it's spinning like this. We've got plenty of battery. I'm not sure why it's trying to spin. We can stop it manually, like this, but then it starts trying to spin again pretty much immediately. It can't change attitude while we have this spin. Well, apparently it got it under control. There we go. And let's just head out over this way. Burn the rest of the fuel on some horizontal speed here. Okay, so that's all of the fuel burnt at this point. And the question is, are we going to be okay here? I kind of doubt it. That spin was very awkward, that's for sure. And how are we going to do here? Well, let's go into 2x speed. I don't think we have enough horizontal speed here. That spin cost us a lot of speed, for the record. Like, a crazy amount of speed. Let's orient it retrograde for now, if we can. Yeah, I guess we can. And it's trying to spin again. And that is definitely costing us an awful lot here. I don't know why it's doing this. It doesn't feel like it should be, but whatever. So we can at least test the parachute and make sure that that's working correctly. It is. So if we can get directly over the drone chute, or rather over the drone ship, then this landing will definitely do the trick. The spin is a problem, and I don't feel like the fins actually helped. I think that the fins are causing the spin. So obviously this is going to be too far away, but this landing mechanism should be fine, in theory. So we can use all of the fuel in here for changing our positioning. I think it's very clear at this time that, well, we need to adjust the way that we're coming in here. We're losing too much speed to drag, but last time we lost too little speed to drag. So it's a fine line, no doubt about it. It's a very fine line. I'm going to remove these fins. I don't think that they helped in any meaningful way. I do think that the parachute is a big, big benefit for us. It's just going to be a matter of dialing in where we need to be. And that's fine. It is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Atala, Andy Magar, Ali Lee, Dark Horse Xenocyte, Hiro Marutsu, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.